Happy New Year and welcome back to TRTV News. We have more Star Trek Picard trailer drops and a close-up of the new comm badge. Let's engage. All right, guys. Well, as I said, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2020, each and every one of you. We've been doing this since the fall of 2019, mid to late fall of 2019. And I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you as a listener, with this podcast and like with the main show, as well as with the news that we do here each Friday, each week when this is dropping. So thank you so much for listening and checking out TRTV News. This week, it might be a little bit shorter than it normally has been, just because, we mainly got a trailer, and we're kind of, at the time of this, we're about 3 weeks out from Picard Day, right? January 23rd, 2020. Can you believe it? We're in the month that we're going to finally see Star Trek Picard. We're going to be seeing Sir Patrick Stewart coming back as one of, if not our favorite captains from Star Trek. Now, I know everyone has their favorite, so it's okay if Picard's not your favorite, but it's still exciting that we're getting a legendary captain returning, this time as an admiral, maybe even and certainly as a retired admiral, from what we've seen throughout the last basically year of trailers for the most part, or at least close to it. So anyway, lots of fun stuff to talk about. Hopefully each of you got some time to slow down and have some fun times, with your family, your friends, your kids, your cousins, your grandparents, whoever, both through Christmas and through New Year's. Now that we're in this new year, this new decade, we have a lot ahead of us, a lot to be grateful for. And what we do now might be a way of how we define the rest of not just the year, but how we define the decade. So we're gonna get in there and have some fun and talk Trek. So recently, I believe it was just a few short days ago, we had more or less a teaser trailer. It was kind of a rehash of some of the things that we've seen in past trailers of the Star Trek Picard show. In this new trailer, we got a lot of stuff, at least some new stuff that's kind of hinting at more what we're going to be seeing, might be able to experience in this upcoming TV show. So we see in the beginning Picard, and he's doing, he's just kind of talking, and we see a piano player of some kind, and we see Picard in his next-gen uniform approaching Data, which we'd seen in a previous trailer. But then we start seeing these scenes more with Marina Sirtis's Deanna Troi. And, that kind of expands more into seeing a few more snippets beyond Jonathan Frakes, William Riker, yelling from the kitchen. We see them having this more intense type of scene that's kind of taken place with what's happening in the trailer. Now, I got curious about this, and some of you might have already done this. So if you have, cool. If not, I looked up on IMDb to kind of get an idea of how much Riker and Troi were really going to be getting at, because the past trailers were kind of showing just this one-off scene, like they were just they were in the kitchen, they were in the front yard, and then they're over by this dock, and Riker's wearing the same outfit, basically. But in this particular trailer, Troy is wearing like 2 or 3 different outfits. And, you know, I know costuming can be different, especially if you're like a principal character and you're going to be in more than one scene, more than one episode. You might have more than one costume. So looking at this and looking at IMDb, I noticed that Deanna Troi, so Marina Sirtis, the actress who plays Deanna Troi, she'll be in 2 episodes that we know for right now. Same thing with Jonathan Frakes, William Riker, who is also going to be in 2 episodes. Now, unless it's just the production order or something, what we're looking at right now for those 2 is we are looking at an episode 1 and we're looking at episode 7. And this is a 10-episode series that's going to be airing on CBS All Access. So for folks like me that love Jonathan Frakes and that love Marina Sirtis and you know what they bring to the roles, what they have brought to their roles in The Next Generation, you're going to be getting at least 2 episodes with them in it. Now, knowing that they're going to be in 2 episodes and that there is going to be some kind of flashback, that hasn't been completely fleshed out what this flashback's going to be. It's my hope, and it might just be headcanon or something, I don't know, but it's my hope that we will be able to see William Riker as a captain in earnest, like on the bridge of the Titan. Now, we did see him, you know, in the closing moments of Nemesis, as a captain, wearing the 4 pips and the uniform of the time. I would love to see him in the uniform that we're seeing in the Picard Countdown comics, wearing his captain pips. Now, the thing, this is kind of going off into beta canon, but we look at like the Titan books and other stories that are kind of interweaved with, you know, Riker as captain of the Titan. We know that later on, he does in fact get promoted to an admiral rank, and that his main ship is the Titan. So at this point, you know, it's been 20 years, so we don't know how long Riker has been out of the service, you know, with Starfleet. If the thing that happened to Picard is the same thing that happened to Riker, or at least something similar. But it's not too far of a stretch of an idea to think, to believe, to be able to maybe even rationalize that Riker did potentially leave Starfleet as an admiral, especially with his long tenure on the Enterprise as first officer as a commander. 15 years is a very long time to be a commander, which really isn't that far of a stretch from real-life military service, because if you're looking at land ranks, which would be like a lieutenant colonel to a colonel, you could wait that long, potentially. Maybe a little shorter, maybe a little longer, but a lot of people don't ever top out at a colonel. So with that, we know that Picard was an admiral, and we know for a fact that Riker was a captain. So we're going to see kind of what happens, and if part of the flashback is going to happen in either episode 1 or 7, if there's a flashback at all, which I would love it if there was. Now, there have also been some other changes, some things that we've kind of noticed. We are certainly still seeing Sir Patrick Stewart in more civilian clothing, like suits, jackets, things like that with a comm badge. But we have yet to see him, apart from this dream sequence or whatever the heck it might be, of him in a proper Starfleet uniform. Like I said, apart from the dream flashback scene where he's wearing his Next Generation era TV series uniform. We do see a little bit more stuff in terms of some kind of fleet or some kind of armada. in front of what appears to be Mars, and there's a recent short trek that is dropped, which we'll be covering later on, so don't you worry. That's recently dropped, and it's called Children of Mars. And not 100% sure on the connections with that quite yet at the time of this recording. But in one of the scenes that we see in the trailer, and even the trailer before that, is Picard in what appears to be like the Enterprise D10 forward. And he's having some kind of intense emotional reaction to what's going on either in his head or right outside the windows of what looks like 10 forward. Now, there's still some more stuff that's occurring. Now, when it comes to before I go there, what's also occurring in this, or what's believed to be going on in this, is that there's a connection between like either genocide, mass death, or something else, which I realize genocide and mass death are more or less the same to a certain extent, just depending on the scale of it, of course, and if there's like a specific targeting of people, which might connect, we don't know yet, might possibly connect back to the Picard Countdown comics that we've already read and been exposed to at this point. Some people are thinking that it's a combination of like his experience with the Borg and being assimilated as Locutus back in The Next Generation, as well as a host of other things that might have occurred off screen or in the comic that we haven't been made aware of yet. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, as we move forward, we're seeing more 7 of 9. We're seeing Hugh with an eye. We're seeing her. We're seeing 7 brandishing some guns and just being awesome. And at one point, we see what looks like maybe a Vulcan, maybe a Romulan, or just like a Hobbit. I don't know, a hobbit or an elf from Lord of the Rings wearing a Starfleet uniform. And we get a very, very clear close-up image of the new comm badge. So for any of you that cosplay out there, there have already been numerous manufacturers, both, hobbyists that do these things, that are into 3D printing and creating, 3D images of stuff. And then there are other folks that do this. And so far it's been pretty decent. There have been some fairly accurate-ish ones. I, for one, have a Picard Command Red uniform, but I'm also using the All Good Things comm badge that we see, which is like the split delta with the 2 rectangular pieces with the split right in the center. And it's kind of like that, except the 2 pieces, and you can see an image, and I'll post an image on the group, the page, and I'll post them on all the socials so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. We can compare them. But we get a really clear picture where the delta is thicker instead of thinner, which is what some of the designs have been so far. So if you're into cosplay and this is something that you'd want to do, I want to encourage you to look into it, check it out, and get ready for it, so that we now know that this is, at least we're being led to believe that this is this era's comm badge for the Starfleet uniform, which is interesting because while we're not 100% sure, at least I'm not 100% sure at this point, the time between Nemesis and the time that Picard is doing the stuff that he's doing in the Countdown comics. We know that it occurs before the TV show, but it's not 100% clear, at least, like I said, I'm not completely aware of it at this point of when it's going on. So we know that basically the DS9 Voyager movie era comm badge. I'm sorry, that basically the 1994 movie comm badge is in play all the way up until this new comm badge. So this comm badge has basically been around for, chronologically speaking, 25 years, unless there's something else different. So 25 years of this piece of technology with this specific look has been around for a while. So I might be beating a dead horse, and you might be like, okay, whatever, Chase, thanks. But I think it's worth knowing because, this will be, as far as we know, the longest serving comm badge from the revival post Kirk, basically, because we had the flip open, the flippy-do one that we were using, and then we just had like the decorative badge that we saw on the Monster Maroon starting with Wrath of Khan. But it wasn't until later on till we first saw a comm badge in the Next Generation, which was the Starfleet Delta with a round oval behind it. So it's kind of cool that it's had this much longevity. It's had as much longevity as much as basically the communicators that Kirk and company use. So anyway, that's basically it for those two things. I already have the trailer posted on the Twitter account for These Are the Voyages. So make sure you head over there, check it out, and watch it. And let me know your reactions. Make sure you comment, like, retweet stuff on Twitter, and same thing on Instagram with liking it and commenting, and certainly join the Facebook page. So you can find all of us on at TRTV Pod. So that's Instagram, Twitter, and if you're on Facebook, if you type in These Are the Voyages, you'll see there's a page and a group. If you found the page, you found the group. Just make sure you follow our page and hit the go to group button and join the group. Conversation continues there. We have a great community of folks, talking about stuff, sharing images and, well wishes and things like that. And we'd love to have you be part of the larger group. Now, if there's something that you're noticing or that you've found out or some cool connection that you've come up with, make sure to let us know about it. We'd love to hear about it and feature you. I'd love to have you on a future episode of either TRTV News or on the regular show. So we'll be resuming with a regular episode. It'll be coming out about midweek, roughly early to mid next week. And then again, we'll have more TRTV News next week and the week after that, and so on and so forth. If you want to reach out to us, remember to open up hailing frequencies. You can send us an email by entering in coordinates, trtvpod@gmail.com. You can also send us a voice-only communication by entering in coordinates 817-752-4757, 817-752-4757. Remember that there's a 3-minute time limit, and your comments might be used on a future episode of These Are the Voyages or TRTV News. Now, if you also want to send us a long-range communication, you want to send us a message, and you want to do that by post using a Starfleet communication buoy, you can do that by entering in coordinates to the Lone Star Station, P.O. Box 2455, Azle, Texas. That's AZLE 76098. All right, gang. Well, that is it for today's episode of These Are the Voyages. Thank you so much for engaging with us. And as we start this new year, this new decade, starting with 2020, may you boldly go and make it so. Take care.